Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. In this video, we're going to be doing an initial comparison between the Harden Volume 9 and the Harden Volume 8. And also, of course, I'll just throw in the Harden Volume 7 there, you know what I mean? So, as far as the retail price goes, they're all 160 bucks. But yeah, the 7, 8, and 9 feel extremely similar, you know what I mean? But a little bit different, you know? So yeah, if you guys do want to get in these shoes, I'll try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the traction. So the traction pattern has been pretty dang similar. I guess besides the Harden Volume 7, you know, we have a little bit more herringbone. I do like how thick the grooves are because it makes it seems a lot more durable, you know what I mean? The Harden Volume 7 of course had really good traction, picks up a little bit of dust, but overall top tier traction. Same thing with the Harden Volume 8, right? But I would say the Harden Volume 8 and 9 are way more similar than, you know, the Harden Volume 7. We have like the outer kind of perimeter of the rubber. We have another color for the inside of the outsole as well. We have these two circles pretty much. We got the 3 stripes in the heel, but of course the Harden Volume 7 does that as well. But as far as the 8 goes, you know, the rubber actually seems a little, or actually way more durable, you know what I mean? Even though like where the circles are, the grooves are a little bit thinner, I feel like it would be okay on an outdoor court, right? And of course the 8 had amazing traction, really nice bite on a clean court, picks up a little bit of dust. But then the 9, they made it thinner. So it's gonna be terrible on an outdoor court. Definitely do not play with the Harden Volume 9 on outdoor court because it's just a really soft and thin rubber. I don't know why they did that, but yeah, the bite seems pretty good. I would say the 9 so far, I mean, you know, I only played in the 9 once. It has a pretty nice bite, but it doesn't seem top tier, you know what I mean? Like comparing to the 7 and 8, it doesn't feel as good for the stop. So we'll have to see on how it breaks in. But yeah, the 9 feels the worst for the traction out of these 3, but it still feels really nice. But of course, the thing that sucks is the durability seems pretty bad. So there is the traction there. Moving on to the heel to toe transition. So the 9 definitely feels the worst as well, right? So here in the heel, it's just all freaking rubber, right? And the 8 does the same thing pretty much, right? It is rubber here. And the 7, it is really caged, but this plastic actually isn't that stiff. You know what I mean? It allows for a little bit of compression. Same thing with the Harden Volume 8, especially because it is, first of all, really rounded shape. But also we have the foam, right? But the 9 is just rubber. And if you feel the side here on the 9, it's really freaking stiff. And also right here, if you feel it, it's actually a really hard rubber. Comparing it to like the Harden Volume 8, like on the side here, it's softer because it's foam. You know what I mean? So yeah, the 9 definitely feels clunkier than the 7 and 8 here in the heel. And of course, you can come here to the forefoot, not super curved for the shape, but yeah, it's all the same here for the 7 and 8 as well. The 7 had a good amount of forefoot flex, right? And also a little bit of springiness. But for the 8, it is a little bit stiffer. You know what I mean? Just a tiny bit stiffer, especially because of all this foam. But the 9, it actually allows for a lot more flex, you know what I mean? But it's not super springy, so it does feel a little bit smoother here in the forefoot. But yeah, I would say as far as the overall heel to toe transition, the 9 feels the worst as well, which kind of sucks. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. The cushioning setup is very similar to the 8, pretty much the exact same. You know what I mean? It's using light boost and light strike. Of course, when the Harden Volume 8 came out, it said it was using jet boost, but then now they're saying it's light strike and light boost. The Harden Volume 7, I believe, was light strike and boost, right? But yeah, it's just the 7 definitely feels the stiffest, you know, for the step-in comfort and underfoot cushions. The 7 was still pretty nice, but it feels the stiffest, right? The 8 feels, I would say the 8 has the best cushioning setup because it has foam, right? The overall step-in comfort and underfoot cushion is really similar from the 8 to the 9. You know what I mean? Like it has that cutout in the heel, that circle cutout. It's really soft. The stroke borders are also soft. So that feels nice. Court feels really good in all the shoes as well. It's just, again, like the 9, not a lot of compression. It's clunky. It's stiff for the heel compression. And that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of sucks as well. You know what I mean? So I would say the 9 has the worst cushion. It's very minor in this instance though. You know what I mean? So there's the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So as far as the quality goes, okay, so in the 7, in this colorway, it's really, really nice, right? Some of the other colorways, it's a little bit cheaper feeling, right? But the 8, I would say the 8 has the cheapest quality materials, especially with this, right? The patent leather, this, look at all this creasing, first of all. It's really thin. And of course, the other color that I have with like that leather material, like the suede material, is super crappy, you know, really thin, definitely not amazing. Also with the foam, there's just so much creasing, which I don't like, right? Especially where the shoe bends. I don't know why they would do that for the design, but they did. So yeah, even the foam feels really cheap. So the outer shell is really, really different, right? The Harden Volume 9, it's actually pretty nice. Yeah, the quality feels nice, but the thing that I don't like about it is that it's definitely the thickest. It definitely is the thickest material out of all 3 of these, right? And also a lot stiffer, and also a lot more rigid, right? So it feels a lot more supportive. So of course, you know, I wouldn't like that. I feel like most guards wouldn't like that. But if you want an upper or a material that, you know, is just stiffer and a little bit more supportive feeling, then I guess you would like the 9 better. But for me, in my personal opinion, I definitely like the 7 the best, and then the 8, and then the 9 so far right now. We'll have to see on how the 9 breaks in, but still, I don't think it's gonna be as nice as the 7 or the 8, right? As far as the inner booty goes, it's all the same. You know what I mean? You know, the 7 had that inner booty. It's really, really stretchy. It literally feels like a sock. Same thing with the Harden Volume 8. And also same thing with the Harden Volume 9. So yeah, the overall feel like on top of your foot, like right on top of your foot, with, you know, basically like a secondary sock, feels literally the exact same, right? And as far as the ankle padding goes, it's all very, very similar too. So yeah, I guess Harden just really likes this kind of like design, like having that inner mesh booty with like a stiffer shell material over that, you know what I mean? So yeah, there is the material there. It's not looking too good for the Harden Volume 9, you know what I mean? Like it feels the worst for the traction, the worst for the cushion, worst for the heel to toe transition, and also the worst for the material. Besides the material quality, but on foot, like I said, not a huge fan, right? As far as the fit goes, they all fit me extremely well. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that it stays pretty consistent. It's a very nice snug fit. Again, with the inner booty, it improves the fit as well, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. So that's literally the exact same, right? Of course, as far as the support goes, I mean, the 7 was really, really good for support, right? Same thing with the Harden Volume 8. But the 9 takes it to another level, you know what I mean? Because like I keep saying, this material is just a lot stiffer and a lot thicker, you know? But of course, that is just for my first impressions. Again, we'll have to see on how the Harden Volume 9 breaks in and stuff like that. But again, like, it just feels a little bit more stiff, a little bit more cumbersome, right? Comparing it to the Harden Volume 8. The 7, I would say, is somewhere around the middle, you know what I mean? As far as like how stiff it feels for the overall upper, right? The 8 definitely feels the softest, especially since, you know, this material is like a really thin material. And then you have the inner booty, and because of this looser fit here in the toe box, it just gives you a nice kind of like roomier feel. You know what I mean? The 7 is a little bit softer, you know, especially with this kind of like textile material in this colorway. And then with the Harden Volume 9, it is a new shoe, of course. I only played in it once, like I said, but it still feels a little bit stiffer. But again, we'll have to see on how it breaks in. So there is the support and lockdown there. Moving on to the weight of the shoe, I'm actually pretty curious. I don't know, all these are pretty dang heavy. I feel like the 8 is probably going to be the lightest, right? The Harden Volume 7 is 15.3 ounces, freaking heavy. The Harden Volume 8 is 14.35 ounces, and the Harden Volume 9 I think is around the same, right? Yeah, 14.35 ounces, right? So yeah, the Harden Volume 8 and the 9 are literally the exact same weight, pretty much. The 7 is definitely the heaviest, probably because all this like plastic, you know what I mean? So that's pretty surprising. The 8, you know, I don't know. But again, like the material just feels a little bit stiffer. So it doesn't feel as good on foot for me right now. And also with the clunkier heel, it doesn't feel terrible, however, in the 9. It's just a little bit clunkier. And I don't like that as much as the Harden Volume 7 and 8, right? So there's that. Moving on to the aesthetics. So yeah, definitely the Harden Volume 9 looks the best. This looks absolutely amazing, right? And also, I would say the Harden Volume 9 has the best quality materials, and then the 7, and then the 8. But as far as pure aesthetics, yeah, this is number 1, and then the Harden Volume 7 is number 2, and then the 8 is number 3. So that's just my personal opinion. Tell us what your kind of like ranking would be down in the comment section below. So yeah, wrapping things up, yeah, the Harden Volume 9 is not feeling as good as a Harden Volume 7 and 8. I mean, it's not feeling terrible though. It's not feeling terrible at all. It's just feeling a little bit worse than the 8 and also the Harden Volume 7. So that kind of sucks, you know what I mean? Especially since this is definitely, like I said, the best looking out of all three of these, you know? But anyways, that about concludes this comparison video between the Harden Volume 9, the Harden Volume 8, and also the Harden Volume 7. Again, if you guys do want to cop any of these shoes, I try to leave in the free link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.